Three, two, one. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Nine Hope Podcast. This is your host, Ian Miller. Today, I am joined again by ex-Major League catcher Nick Dini. Nick, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, Mill? Thanks for having me on again, bro.
Always, dude. Always, man. I wanted to talk to you. Obviously, you come on at least once a week, dude. We talk about the youth baseball space. We talk about amateur college baseball, man. And this week, it's going to be no different. Obviously, the College World Series is about to get underway here. We've had a lot going on. We talked at length about the portal last week, about the college baseball free agency market. We got a new name or two in there that we'll probably bring up, which is a little crazy. But yeah, leading off with the baseball, dude. I had a lisp right there. The baseball youth space. Dude, you had sent me over a clip from a 10U baseball game this past weekend in New Jersey. 10U baseball of some parents scuffling, dude. What can you break that down for me and maybe like break it down for the audience a little bit? What was going on, dude, and kind of what happened? What resulted from all this?
So I can't really speak to what happened after this, but from what I'm looking, now this video was sent to me. I was not there, but basically this is 10U baseball in South Plainfield, New Jersey. And it's a 7-7 game in the sixth inning. So really tight, well-fought game at a 10U level. That's always good. And you just see like a fight ensue and like cursing. So basically what I gathered, and I did a little bit of digging on it, was that the coach of the team was reaming out the 10-year-old for throwing certain pitches that he didn't agree with. And I think from looking at it, it's like runners on first and third. So I there's a little bit of traffic. I guess he threw pitches that he wasn't supposed to. They yanked the kid. Kid comes back to the dugout, and you don't see it at first, right? Because it's a single camera. And you just hear the audio of this guy just like undressing a 10-year-old, like cursing him out. Like I wouldn't hear a college coach at this day and age talk to a college kid like this.
100%, dude.
And this guy is reaming this 10-year-old out, who now you hear when you listen to the video, you realize it's not even his own son. So he's doing this to just a player on the team. And then you hear the parents of the kid like get involved, like don't talk to my kid like that. And then a fight ensues on the field in the top of the sixth inning, dude, of a 10U baseball game.
That is,
yeah, and dude, and that kind of speaks to what I'm saying is like, because there's just so much baseball available to people, like you need coaches to coach these teams, and now we just have complete and utter lunatics in charge of 10-year-olds and trying to advance the game and like grow the game of baseball, and we're getting mad because the kid had some tough results because he threw a pitch you didn't really agree with, and now we're in a tie game, and we're fighting parents and reaming out 10-year-olds for the world to see. It's and dude, this is one example. Like you see stuff like this all the time. I've read stories of people waiting in the in parking lots to fight umpires, like physical fights, and for youth baseball. This is the point that it's getting to, and this is why I have a hard time getting my mind around it. You know what I mean? It's like these coaches are trusted by parents to help their kid, coach their kid, develop a love for the game. And like this kid, I wouldn't be shocked if this kid doesn't play ever again. It's like that's what I'm opening myself up to at 10 years old. Like I have a tough outing, and I don't even get in the car and have to hear it from my dad. I got to hear my coach embarrass me and undress me,
dude,
like during the game.
10
insane
10U,
bro.
Brother. So
10U baseball.
So at that age, man, obviously kids are extremely impressionable. They are learning to love the game, whether it's they have a friend group that plays on the team or in that sport. Or they love it, man. But they're figuring it out at that age, dude, and to absolutely shit on a player at that age, at that spot, man. that's got to leave a bad taste, not only in the player's mouth, dude, but the parents and the other coaches, the league moving forward. I'd be interested to see what the ramifications were for that coach, what ended up happening, dude. But the game, like the parents, the scuffle ensued on the field, bro. So
On the
like,
field.
dude, so the game is stopped now. The kids are witnessing the parents like duke it out a little bit, pushing match, you know, just curse words left and right, dude. In your opinion, bro, because you come on here and you educate me, you educate my audience with the youth baseball space. At that age, how would you go about not disciplining that kid, but helping that kid learn from that situation, man? Is there a better way that it could have been, you know, dealt with?
I mean, if I really didn't, first off, the kid's 10 years old. If he wants to throw a pitch, throw a pitch. I don't give a shit if we win this game or not. It's doing nothing for me. It's like if that kid goes through that, you know what I do? I give him a pat on the ass. I say, really nice, like, good try. Go get him next time. Like, appreciate, like, what else do you say to a 10-year-old, dude? It's like, unless I want this kid to quit and never, like, look me in the eye and then everybody else follows suit because I I don't know, man. Like other than just like good effort, like get on the fence, pick your teammates up here, like be a good teammate for this guy coming into the game, and that's it. And that's all you can do. What else is there to do?
100%.
You know what I mean? Like that is the last thing you do. You don't do that to a kid. You know what I mean? If you like, if anything, if I really felt like, you know what, I wanted to use this as a learning moment to like teach, I let the game play out, and then I see that kid at the next practice, and I pull him to the side for 5 minutes, and I address what I think needs to be addressed at that moment. Like the kid just failed. He feels really crappy about what just happened as it is. The last thing he needs is your criticism or your thoughts, especially in that matter. And on top of that, he could have went about it in a manner that wasn't so chaotic and complete lunacy, and the kid still wouldn't probably react to it in a positive way because of how he feels in that moment. So you just let it marinate. Like you just like teach him the importance of, all right, getting on that top step and picking the next guy up, right? How many times, Mill, do you see like one of your teammates has a tough outing on the mound and he's the guy at the top step. It's like, yo, clean up my mess. You talk to relievers all the time. I've talked to me more so because I'm, you know, I catch, but I talk to relievers and they get more satisfaction out of coming in and picking up their boy who like gets into a little bit of a jam and he works his way out of it than he would if he just had him clean inning himself. Like they feel worse about cashing in somebody else's runs than they do their own. Gotcha. And those are the best teammates that you could be around. So you teach that kid the importance of this guy's coming in to try to pick you up. Make sure that you're behind him all the way. And that's the only teaching moment that you have. And then, like I said, you want to take him into practice the next day and just kind of talk him through, hey, this is why I thought that. Be my guest. But what that guy did is like on the other end of the spectrum of do not ever, ever do.
Yeah. Prime example of fucking what not to do. Prime example of what to stay away from, dude. So at that age, yeah, everything you're saying makes a ton of sense. Like I said, dude, I've had limited interaction with the youth space regarding like 10U and stuff like that. So at that level, man, yeah, how to be a good teammate, how to pick your boys up, right? How to like cheer for your dudes, how not to be a cancer on a team, right? That's probably the type of life lessons you're learning at that age, man. So to be just reamed and embarrassed and like torn apart, tarred and feathered there in front of everybody, bro, that's insane. I'm glad we hit on it. I'm glad you got some video of that, dude. So yeah, I'm glad we were able to talk about that, bro. That's insane to see that break out. Dude, so we got some more portal talk, right? Obviously, like the College World Series is about to get underway right now. Last week, the portal opened up on Monday. We had talked about it on Wednesday, I believe, or Thursday. I forget what day we got together, dude. But there were already like 4,000 names in the portal already. You had brought to my attention that we have a coach in there. A coach had entered his name into the transfer portal, dude. A D2 assistant coach, man. What do you think about that? What do you got on that? And are we going to see more coaches enter their name into the transfer portal moving forward?
I sent that to you kind of like jokingly, and I don't even know what to think about it. Like, but the tweet was Division II assistant coach put his name in the portal, looking for better opportunities, posted his win-loss record, his responsibilities, etc.
Oh no.
He
Oh
throws
no.
BP. Good fungo. The best fungo. But like, dude, I don't know. What does that mean? But that's what I think that I thought. I have an opinion, and I made that perfectly clear about like players and what I thought about that. But it's like, okay, like, what is this guy puts his name in the portal? It's like, all right, well, you're unemployed. Like, go find another
Yeah,
job.
dude.
And it's like, I don't even know. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, what is that? Like, I don't even know what that entails. Is there a separate tab? Like, hey, I need to find coaches, so I'm going to put my name in the coaches tab of the portal. Like, I've never looked. I don't know if what the portal actually is. It's like it's a database that like you just go look and there's a list of players and their names and bios and probably videos of their best swings and their hardest throws. And is there a coaches tab that shows what? Or is this guy just mixed like in the mix with the players? And it's
Dude,
like, oh shit, like
yeah.
I need a coach.
It
I don't know.
It can't be a good look for where he's
No.
coming from, right? Like you said, dude, you made a great analogy last week about comparing it to like being in a marriage. You want to see maybe what the waters look like outside of the marriage, but I'll be back. You know what I mean? Like, dude, there's no way that this coach can come back to his program, right? After making it known that he wants to leave for better opportunities, see what else is out there. It's almost like you're cheating on the program.
Even more so the program in its totality, but it's like a player. It's like for me, it's one thing like, hey, the program has success, and like, dude, we went to a school, right, where we were in the middle of it. We saw it. A better job opportunity opened up for the coach that brought me in, that you played for your freshman year, and he goes on to something that is better for his family, his alma mater, somewhere he played as a player, and like like that hurt, but you understand it. Like the guy has to do what he has to do, right? Like this guy is like putting himself out there, like begging, like, hey, anyone need anything? You know what I mean? It's not like, hey, I'm sought after as a coach. Like you have success as a coach and you move up the ladder. Like that's how it works. Just like it does as a player. Like you don't fail and then say, okay, where's my job opportunity at a better program with more resources and better facilities and whatnot? I need more responsibilities. Like I don't understand. I honestly saw it and it just made me laugh because we talked about like everyone and their mother throwing their name into the portal. And then next thing you know, it's like assistant coach throwing his name into the portal. It's like, I don't even know what that means. Like
Absolutely wild, brother.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And it just goes to speak to like the landscape of things and how it's all set up.
Yeah. His best chance of getting his name out there is on social media, apparently, right? If you're reading that tweet on Twitter, I mean, it's wild. We'll see kind of how it unfolds. But just earlier today, man, I had Joey Hawkins on, who was just took over the Missouri State baseball program. He is now the third coach in Division I history for Missouri State. Dude, he's 31 years old, took over the program. He is a youngin, and it's fantastic to see, man. So Missouri Valley Conference, that's legit. We just saw like Evansville there in the regionals, man. So like they have a presence, man. Talking about the portal with him a little bit, dude. He was kind of hitting on it the same way that you were last week, right? Like obviously there is a benefit to programs, especially mid majors or maybe the lower Division I, where it's like, hey, guys can transfer over for better opportunities. But he also saw the negative side of it as well, kind of highlighting like, hey, man, guys can basically go to 4 colleges in 4 years, dude. Like, what's that going to do for you? What's that going to do for your development? What's that going to do for you kind of like gaining that brotherhood with your teammates, those relationships moving forward? Getting guys to buy in, it's tough. Getting guys to buy into your program, not just as a coach, but like as a player, dude. So you see this D2 assistant coach trying to get his guys to buy in, obviously, whether he did that or not. But now you're kind of putting your name in the portal, testing the waters elsewhere. man, if he goes back, it's going to be tough for those dudes to buy in. It's tough with the portal, man, because you're getting these new fresh faces coming from other places, having to get them to buy into your hitting philosophy, your team's philosophy, the coaching philosophy, all that stuff, man. It's going to be wild to see, dude. So all this portal stuff, dude, now we're almost up on 10 days of this portal being fucking live. And there's already some news being generated, dude. So it's crazy to see.
100%. And it's a good point you made about like the brotherhood and sticking it out with guys, like dude, when my freshman class at Wagner was 19 freshmen, like the program was in complete turnover, and we weren't a very good team early on because we were so damn young. And like those guys that I came in with, those are lifelong friends that I have today. You know what I mean? Like I talk to them pretty regularly. A lot of them were at my wedding. Some of them were in my wedding. Like those relationships that you build are so damn important. And by the end of our college career, like we were accomplishing something. We won 32 games, I think, our senior year, where we were a team that didn't win 20 games as freshmen. You know what I mean? So like the program left a better place. We left the program in a better place than when we got there. And most of those guys, of those 19, I would say 14 or 15 of them stuck it out for 4 years. And to see the evolution of the program over those 4 years was something really awesome. And I know, like I talked about earlier, our head coach had left. So he brought in 19 freshmen, and we've talked about Jimmy Carone on this podcast plenty of times about the impact and the mentorship that he's had for both you and I. And for somebody like that to come into a program and not get rid, like that was, though, he rode with those guys. Not one of those guys were his. And it was like, you know what? I'm going to see it through with this group of guys because that's the right thing to do. And by the end of it, like, he was rewarded for it. So seeing that growth firsthand, that's why for me, it's a little bit hard to understand. Like, I couldn't imagine leaving. You know what I mean? Like, and not even for myself, but for the other guys. Now, listen, if they're talking 50,000, 100,000, you transfer schools, that's different. It's something to think about. And that's what's happening. And that's the sad part of it, is because you don't get to develop those relationships over time and create those lifelong bonds that you're going to cherish for the rest of your life. So that's the tough part of the portal. And that's the part where, it gets sticky, because I do understand from a player's perspective, like, you have an opportunity, to cash in on what you've put into your whole life. How can you say, no, you can't do that? Like, buy into the brotherhood. It's like, boys, I'm sorry. This is what I got.
For sure, man. Could not agree more. Staying on that topic of college baseball, dude. So we hit on the portal a little bit. Obviously, the College World Series is about to get underway here in the next, I think the first games are on Friday, right? So in 48 hours, dude. Up until this point, there was some ejections happening in the Clemson, Florida game. First baseman Jack Crichton left his position on the base pass. I kind of wanted to focus a little bit more on the top of the 13th inning. There was a home run hit. But what was it by Alden Mathis? Hits a go-ahead home run in the top of the 13th inning, which resulted in 2 of the Clemson coaches being tossed out. So we had talked a little bit about, man, the rules where there's bat flips, excessive taunting and shit. Like, players are loud, players are flashy. They might be showing up other players. They might not be celebrating the right way. All that stuff, man, it looks like it's getting policed, right? So there was some talk after the go-ahead home run of, man, I wasn't really sure if, Alden Mathis was getting tossed. I wasn't sure what was happening, but an argument ensued. And, Clemson baseball coach Eric Bakich and the assistant coach Jack Leggett, they were ejected, man. So they're cracking down. They're cracking down in the big spots, in the big way, man. Do you think any of this was ejection worthy? I know that we have we were going back and trying to like nail down the specifics 100%, dude. But did you think that this was ejection worthy, especially in this spot?
Well, and that's the big point of this, and that's where I stand on it, is there has to be feel for what the hell is going on around you. Like, these guys are in this was a super regional, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like these
This
guys
was to
are
go to the
just
College
hit,
World Series.
yeah, like dude, this is like, and that's my thing, right? It's like I think the bat flip really, like the most like one of the most iconic bat flips in the history of baseball is Jose Batista in the
Oh, yeah.
ALCS, or you know what I mean? That like to the moon, to the moon. And you kind of understood it because of the situation of the game. Like I didn't look at that as ridiculous, because it's like that, a lot of emotion in that spot. Like you work your ass off all year to be in that position, and you're owning that moment. And I'm okay with that. I really can't stand the like midweek game where you like completely hit a nuke and in the third inning of a game, and it's like, do we really need to bat flip? Like, just go act like you've done it before. But this is different, dude. This is to go to the College World Series. Like, this is something that only a handful of people ever get to experience. And even a smaller portion of those people get to be in that situation that kid was in, to bat flip. And it's like, okay, emotions are running high, and you know what? That's what he felt needed to get done. Like, I don't hate it. So it's like having a little bit of feel for the game and where it's at and what's going on has to play a factor, right?
Yeah.
Like
dude.
that there, you cannot in that situation make it about you. And it's like, why in that situation would you put one team who just did something really, really freaking cool, put them at a disadvantage going forward,
Dude,
because
yes.
because of that? You know what I mean? It's like, dude, these guys, they're not umpires that just show up to different venues every weekend, collect their money, and then go off and do everything. Like, there's a lot of shit that these guys go through behind the scenes to be in that spot. And to come up in that spot and deliver in that way, it's, I mean, unless aside from somebody getting hurt doing it, like, and causing something, it's like, it's all hands on deck. But you know what I mean? It's like, it is what it is. Like the guys celebrating, and now you're taking that away from them and punishing the team. Like,
Yes.
I think that's not right.
It was tough spot. So I saw, Mathis had hit the home run, threw his bat down, was, yelling at his dugout, right, firing up his team. It was cool to see, the Clemson coaching staff sticking up for the players in that spot. When he had gotten tossed, he was walking off the field and he was fucking firing up the crowd, man, was getting them involved. Dude, what's even crazier is that had Clemson won this game, the head coach would not be available for that next game. So if they won and they forced another game, man, they were going to be disadvantaged there. The leader of the team wasn't going to be able to be suited up, man, which is crazy. It absolutely is fucking nuts. I don't necessarily know if that was ejection worthy, but we had talked about it before. Look, dude, excessive bat flips, man, I don't think that was an excessive bat flip. Yeah, we police that stuff. We're not trying to show up the other team, but in my opinion, dude, tempers were running high earlier in the game. I get it, but in this instance, there was nothing where the Clemson player was showing up the other team, dude. I don't think it was ejection worthy. I don't necessarily know if that was great for college baseball at the time. It obviously did not help Clemson out in moving forward. They ended up losing, man. But it is what it is. Alas, it is what it is, dude.
Well, and just to touch on that, and that's why, like, I get what they're doing, right? Like, you want to kind of police that in some way, like during the course of a season. And that's why feel, like, you can't teach feel, dude. You either have feel or you don't. If it wasn't a malicious bat flip where he's taunting the other team and he's just trying to fire up his dudes, it's like, have some feel for what the hell is going on and what the moment is. You know what I mean? Because it's like I said, man, if it's the beginning of March and we're doing this stuff and you want to put that, like, lay the law down of like, hey, this won't be tolerated. Okay, that's fine. But in that moment, like, we have to use a little bit of feel and just understand what the hell is going on around us. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a double-edged sword, because it's like, we're trying to police this. We want to, like, keep this under control to a certain point. And then you also have to factor in the moment. And it's like,
yeah,
you can't do that. And now you eject the head guy for what would be a deciding game to go to the College World Series. Like, that's,
yeah, dude, that's tough. That's
tough.
The feel is definitely questioned there, dude. So that was like a crazy happenstance that I wanted to highlight there, number one. But number two, man, was a play against Oregon State and Kentucky. So Mitch Canham, I spent some time with him in the Mariners system. He since went and he, took over the helm of the program at Oregon State, man, has absolutely been fucking fantastic there, dude. But Oregon State lost in a one-run ball game during a tie game with a pitcher not covering home plate, dude, and it kind of ended the Oregon State season, brother. What do you got on that? Obviously, being an ex-catcher, working with catchers, we'll finish up after this with what you got going on now in the baseball development space, but coming up through the ranks, making it to the big leagues as a backstop, dude. You understand the importance of PFPs, pitchers fielding their position. What do we got here? Where was the ball dropped, if you will? Obviously, it's a huge spot, so the pitcher's got a ton of shit going on in his head, dude. But it ended up costing their team the game, and it ended their season, man. What do you got on this?
Yeah, so I actually know one of the assistants over there too. I played with him for a long time. Kind of similar guy
Joey
in my
Wong?
situation. No, Nate Esposito.
Okay.
He was a catcher in the Royals organization, like one of my good friends. But anyway, so pitchers fielding their position, it's a huge thing. Like it's something that, I think teams work on it. I don't think pitchers take enough pride in it because it's more about like, hey, I don't have to be as good at this if I'm lighting up a radar gun. And that's a whole other conversation, right? So I don't know if enough pride is taken in it, but like I could tell you, like in the Royals organization, dude, when we laid down sack bunts, we were like, our goal was to make the pitcher field the ball, right? Now, this was a little different circumstance, and this isn't even a PFP, dude. And I feel, I don't want to bury the kid too much because I know he's already feeling it and he feels as anybody would imagine when something like this happens. But the runner's on second base, and I think it was the 7th or 8th inning. Ball gets by the catcher, dirt ball, and deep backstop, and the pitcher just doesn't cover home. The kid from second takes 2 bases on a wild pitch that ended up being the deciding run, sent them home, season over. So I don't want to, bury the kid too much, but it's a lesson for everybody in just not letting what has just happened dictate what happens next. And it's like, hey, ball gets by the catcher, we're covering home, runner on second base. Like you cannot leave home plate unoccupied. It was a mental blunder for the kid and something that he'll learn from. And I'm sure, everybody in the program, and I know if I'm a coach anywhere, like, unfortunately, that's a clip that I'm showing to my pitchers at the beginning of a year and saying like, hey, this is like, these things cost you run. Like, dude, these games are they're marginal games. It's who does the little things better. Everybody is good. The talent gap is very, very minuscule. So it's not just, a regular season game where talent wins. It's everybody in this position at this point in the year is a good team that can be beat if they don't do the little things correct. And that's just something that like tangibly led to a loss, and something that he'll learn from, and something that I think every pitcher and every baseball player, athlete can learn from. That, like there's no woe is me, hold your head down. It's like we runner on third, like, dude, bear down and make a pitch. You know what I mean? And it's like,
For sure,
if you would have asked him in that point, I'm not sure how many outs there were in that. Did you remember seeing that?
No.
There's one out. So one out.
So
one
it was
out
a big,
in the butt.
dude,
Yeah, it's one out. The kid, and it's an 0-2 count when this happened. So it's now you're looking at runner on third, 1-2.
You've executed up until this point. It's a tie ball game, dude, in the biggest spot, bro. It's like, okay, I know the pitching coach. So Rich Dorman's the pitching coach. He was with the Mariners. I think then he went to Grand Canyon, I believe. Now he's over at Oregon State. I know that he is a dude that takes PFPs for real, right? So he is a stickler for that stuff. Man, obviously, like, this just goes to show that in the biggest spot, the littlest lapse in judgment, right? We're not going to shit on the dude. Obviously, like, I'm sure he's heartbroken. I'm sure the whole program's heartbroken. But this just goes to show that even in the biggest moment, when you're executing, when you're shoving, a mental lapse and not being at the right spot where you're supposed to be at the right time, right? Doing your duty, right? Can make or break a ball game, dude. It's crazy to see. It's unfortunate not to have Oregon State in the College World Series, brother. But I just, we definitely wanted to bring that up, highlight it. Like, dude, PFPs are fucking crucial.
And that's the stuff too, where it's like you're doing that all winter and it gets to a point where it's like, all right, enough of this shit. Like, we've done this enough. And like, as a player, right, it's like, do I really have to keep doing, you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things. It's like, I want to work on my individual skill, like, development. I want to hit, I want to throw, I want to do all this stuff. Like, do I really have to go to, like, take another, 20 bunts today? Do I really have to, work on the ball getting, like, all the little things that, when you do them consistently in the preseason and in practices, they feel at the moment like we've done this enough. Like, we've hit the nail on the head as players. It's like, it's for this reason, so that, because like, you hope that at some point in your season, you are playing meaningful baseball games. And anybody that's been in these meaningful baseball games, there's always one or two things that can swing a game in the other direction or in your direction, right? If you do them well and you execute. But these are the things. So these games are decided on the margins. These are marginal plays. These are the things. This is the bullshit that goes on in practice that as players, you're like, all right, enough is enough. Yeah. But they show up to matter late in the year. Always.
Biggest spots too, man. Biggest spots probably when you least expect it, man.
Yep.
Dude, so there's this saying in football, dude, right? It's like offense wins games, defense wins the league or whatever it is, and special teams wins championships, right? So like this is a clear fucking stud on the mound for a stud baseball team, and it's just like something like that, something so minuscule. Not covering the plate with a runner on second base, right? You're not expecting that in the biggest spot. You got this guy down 0-2, right? So you're not necessarily thinking about covering home plate, but it's like that can make or break a ball game. That can make or break a season, dude. It's so crazy, man. Absolutely crazy.
And you feel, I feel for the kid because he's probably a good kid. He probably works his ass off to be pitching in that kind of situation. He is a dude. It's just, yeah, it's something that he's going to learn from. And you know what? We've talked about this plenty, right? It's like, you hope that he understands, and I'm sure he does, what the hell happened and gets better from it. Don't run from it, understand it, and head down and just keep fucking plugging, man. Just learn from it and be better. And that's all you can do. Can't dwell on it.
Absolutely, man. Before we wrap up here, dude, I just, I wanted to highlight, dude. So obviously, like, as we get off of this college baseball talk, man, I love the way that NC State plays baseball. I love the way that they play baseball, dude. I love the way Coach Avent coaches his guys. I'm just, the camera will pan over to him. Elliot was on the 9 Hole podcast earlier this year talking about, his coaching philosophy, how hard his guys practice and stuff, and being able to see it transpire in the biggest spots possible absolutely fires me up. I had made a video, of Jacob Cozart's home run, absolute banger, 104 mile an hour, no doubter, into the trees, and the dude fucking dropped his bat and ran hard around the bases. Yep. Not doing some crazy stutter steps, not pausing for pictures around third base, dude. Goes back and celebrates with his team. I love the way that NC State plays baseball, dude. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, for the Wolfpack moving forward, dude. Hope to see them at the end, man. Hope to see them there at the end, dude. So
go Pack.
Yeah. Hey, go Pack, go. What do we got? Dude, so before we get out of here, brother, I wanted to ask you a couple questions about what you guys got going on behind the scenes with a travel ball organization. So you're doing some training and development for a travel ball org out your way, dude. Can you just highlight some stuff about that?
Yeah, so it's the Tri-State Arsenal. It's a organization that's been around for a long time, more prominent in like the South Jersey, Pennsylvania area. They're trying to bring that brand to Monmouth County, and I'm fortunate enough to have Nick Duran on with me to kind of spearhead the Monmouth operation. Nick was another guy. He was a junior college pitcher, drafted beyond the 20th round. So if it were today, wouldn't have played professional baseball or drafted, and was a guy that like grinded his ass off and worked his way to the big league. So super excited to have Nick on board and partner up with him and bringing a kind of a little bit different feel to what I think baseball should be about. Taking a more pro style to it. We're actually launching teams in the fall, with the focus being more towards the training and development, with some games and tournaments sprinkled in, but not really making that the focus. What I've gathered is a lot of times these organizations spend 80% of the time playing games and 20% practicing. We're looking to flip that, especially in the fall when guys have played a long season. A lot of these kids are playing almost 70, 80 baseball games nowadays from it, like throughout the year, spring, summer being the most games that they're playing. So kind of using fall as like a wind down to kind of have them understand what it is that they need to do to become better. So we're starting with, teams that at the 13 and down age groups. And what our focus is on is trying to create good high school baseball players. I think too many times people worry about everything beyond that, but more than anybody, dude, it's like if you are a good high school player, those are the players that get noticed. Those are the players that ultimately go on to play college, which I think a lot of people at a young age have their sights set on that part of it instead of the first part of how do we make you a good high school baseball player, especially at a time right now where you're making a jump from a small field to a big field, learning the game. It's a completely different beast, and putting the attention to learning how to play the game with such a drastic change in the fields. So we're launching that in the fall, and we're super excited to get that started. I've spoke a lot about travel organizations and how they are run, and we're trying to do it a little bit differently than what most are out there doing.
That's fantastic, dude. Man, I'm excited to hear more about that as we keep having you back on, man. We'll talk more about it again next week, dude. Would love to hear, more about what you guys have developing behind the scenes and how you guys go about, teaching and raising these young men in the game, dude. I think it's awesome to hear. Obviously, like travel orgs can go about it the right way or they can go about it the wrong way. So I am extremely excited to see you guys go about it the right way. Deans, appreciate your time, brother. Thank you for coming on here again and chopping it up, dude. And man, look forward to having you back on again next Wednesday, brother.
Appreciate you, Mel. Thank you for having me on. Thank you always, man. Always a fun time, bro.
I love it, man. I love it. Everybody, thank you guys for tuning in to this recording of the 9 Hole Podcast. We will catch you guys back here again next week. Take care, guys.